for us. And when we go out and tell stories together, we call ourselves the Patchwork Players Story Theater.
Can you imagine how long we practiced when we were first figuring that out? But that's one of our favorite things to do. But we're very pleased tonight to be able to. Earlier we had some personal stories going on. We had a story that was out of a ballad, which is, we're thinking about, we need to write more ballads. The world needs more ballads these days. But we have a story that comes out of folklore, folktale, from the country of India.
All right.
So, start us off, James.
All right. Now, the hero of this story was a prince. Now, he was a fine prince, a handsome prince. And this prince, he had old friends and hangers-ons and courtiers and people who hang around you because you got money and they're not really your friends. You know those people. And he loved partying. He loved playing. He loved dancing. He loved drinking. And he loved hunting. Oh, he loved hunting so much. He wasn't much of a mind for being political. He was just a party boy. But being as that he is a prince, that means that his father was the king. And as we know, kings, like all of us, do not live forever.
So, at the end of the king's long life, he had lived long. He was like maybe over 50. Yes. And it was time, he was fading away of just natural causes and old age, when he called his son and said, "My son,
Yes, Father?
it is going to be time.
Yes?
You shall be king."
King, that's so much work. King, I have so much things to do. I sit around in the palace. Oh, that's too much work.
Well, you're going to be king, and I trust you will grow into the job. There's only one promise that you must make me.
Okay, what is it that I must promise you before I take the throne?
The most important thing is,
Yes.
you must keep on your staff my most trusted advisor. The old advisor. He not only advised me, he advised my father and my grandfather, and you must keep him. He is the wisest one around. Keep him on board. He will take care of you. And then the king died.
Well, the prince knew exactly who the advisor he was speaking of, the wise old advisor. He'd been around forever. Some say he'd been there before the castle was built. Who knows? And he did promise his father he would keep that wise old advisor on hand. And it came day for his coronation. You know, like this. Da-da-da-da. And he became the king of the land. Now, he still liked doing his partying stuff. He would love to hang out with his friends and his courtiers and the hangers-ons and all the people who pretend to love him because they got money. All the people, he'd go tiger hunting, which was his favorite thing. Oh, he would gather all his friends and they'd go out hunting tigers. But he didn't have as much time for that now that he was king because people kept coming to him with problems.
People would come up and say, "Your Majesty, well, we're having problems. We're having a shortage of oats and rice and wheat, and I don't know, you've got to do something. What do you want to do?"
Well, the advisors would gather and they'd say, "Oh, well, there's special grain in our reserve stores we could get out." Or, "Oh, your cousin across the harbor, he's got lots of extra grain you could get." And basically, all the advisors had to beg, borrow, or steal their way out of the problem. But the wisest old advisor, the one that he'd promised his father he would keep on hand for all of his wisdom, had a different answer.
"Yes, Your Majesty, I have an answer for you. All is as it should be."
That's not much of an answer. All is as it should be. That's very strange. Well, he went on with his life a little. He spent more time partying and drinking, but not as much time as he wanted. He went out hunting for tigers, but not as much time as he wanted because, again, people keep coming to him with problems that he needs to solve. Why, it would be maybe a fire ravaging or perhaps a pox upon the land. Whatever it was, his wise old advisors would have some idea how to beg, borrow, or steal their way out of the problem. But every single time that wise old advisor would come up, come on, everybody's waiting for lunch, we're hungry, come on, wise, yes.
All is as it should be.
Still not a very good answer. Well, time came for a very, very big tiger hunt. Oh, they had heard that there was some large tigers out in the jungle and they were going to have a really fantastic hunt. And the prince was so excited he was going to get out of the castle for an extra long weekend. So he gathered his friends and his courtiers and his cousins and the hangers-ons and all the people who pretend to like you because you got money. You know those people.
And pretty soon, trotting along came the old advisor. I'd like to go along too.
Well, I did promise that I would keep him by my side. So the wise old advisor came along on the tiger hunt. So they're out in the jungle all on horseback, running through the jungle and whipping the trees and everything there. And they caught a scent of the tiger. Ooh, and the king now, he decided, oh, I'm going to go get that tiger by myself. And he left his group and he went off hunting for the tiger. And the tiger leapt out and just scared the horse to bejesus. Oh my gosh! And the horse took off, bound, running like crazy. Now, you would think the king might fall out of the saddle. No, he didn't fall all the way out of the saddle. No, he fell off and his boot was still stuck in the stirrup. And he's being dragged along by this panicked horse over the jungle ground. Ow, trees bashing the twigs in the face. And finally, the horse jumped over a large log and took the boot with it. And the king's big toe still inside the boot. Oh my gosh! Oh, look at his bleeding! Somebody get me! Oh my gosh, my toe! Somebody get me my toe! Where's my? Ow! This hurts! Oh my God! Oh! I lost a toe.
And pretty soon, along came the advisor, and he was ready to give him some consolation.
And look at this! Look what happened to my toe! I am now, I am mangled. I'm destroyed. Oh, this is horrible.
All is as it should be.
All is as it should be. I am bleeding like a stuck pig. How can you say all is as it should be? That's all you ever say is all as that should be. Every problem I have, all is as it should be. All is as it should be. It's getting redundant. It's getting boring. I don't want to hear it anymore. I'm sick and tired of your advice. I'm going to banish you to the dungeon. I don't want to hear you. I don't want to see you with the all this as it should be. No, to the dungeon with you. So they sent the poor old advisor down to live in the jungle, in the dungeon.
Well, a couple weeks later, the king and his hangers-on, without the special old advisor, decided to go on another tiger hunt.
Oh, yes. Now, the king had his toe all bandaged up, so he was okay now. He had a little stuffing in the boot there where his toe used to be. And he headed out with all the folks out for the jungle hunt, a tiger hunt. He was on his horse, and all his friends and courtiers and hangers-ons were all on their horses riding through the jungle, looking for a tiger, looking for a tiger. And again, the king thought he heard something in the rustling of the bushes, and he's so egotistical. He didn't wait again. He just took off looking for that tiger all by himself, leaving everybody else behind.
But as soon as everyone was behind, it became clear he was pounced on by a group of, well, they were from the northern kingdom.
You know, the northern people. Oh, they're horrible. They're monsters. They eat people, the northern people. Oh my gosh.
And they said, grab that guy and take him off. It's time for lunch.
So these cannibals, they took the king across the border into their lands, and they took him into the main village there where their high priest and their chief were waiting, and they said, hey, we have got something for lunch. And guess what? He's royalty. Ooh, a fancy lunch for all of us. A fancy lunch for all of us.
So they stripped off all of his clothes, including the boots, and they were ready to put him in when somebody said, what is that? What is wrong? He's deformed on his foot.
Well, it turns out that these folks had very specific dietary rules. Yes, and it turns out that eating an entire person is okay, but if the person has been deformed or damaged or torn in some way, he was impure and unclean.
So they took him and they put him on a horse and sent him back on off.
They didn't even give me my clothes back.
Oh. What are you going to do? So he eventually, his hangers-on found him. They were so glad to find him. They took him back to the kingdom.
Whew. Oh my goodness gracious! I was almost eaten alive, but I had my toe. And you know what? When I lost my toe, and the advisor told me that it was all as it should be, I got so mad at him. But you know what? Maybe, and kings don't say this often, maybe he was right. So, the king, he decided to bring the old advisor up out of the dungeon and put him back to work. Old advisor, we're waiting for lunch. There's a whole banquet table all laid out for us.
Well, it's good to see you, my sire.
Well, I just wanted to, I wanted to say You can be for advisor again. I've decided to bring you out of the dungeon because, well, I don't know if you've heard, I don't know if the story reached down there, but I was out tiger hunting, and I was captured by the people from the north. You know, the cannibals. They grabbed me, they stripped me naked, they were going to stick me in a big, huge, bubbling cauldron of oil. But they realized I didn't have a toe, and they can't eat people it's against their religion, so they didn't eat me. And when you told me all is as it should be, well, I guess maybe it was all is as it should be, so I was wrong. I should have brought you with me. I don't know why I've let you languish in the dungeon. You should have been at my side. You were right all along.
Well, you know, sire, had you brought me along,
Yes?
I am not missing any body parts. I might have been a delicious lunch for them. So indeed, in the end, all is as it should be.